Welcome. My name is Marty Major with FLIR Security's TCX Training Department. Today we're going to talk about one of the applications that we use to discover our cameras. Now that tool can be found right here in Admin Center in the applications, and it is our Discovery Network Assistant, or DNA tool. And I could launch it right from here, but which you can do, after the fact. But I also have the executable right here on my desktop, as you can see, the most current version. And if I launch the EXE, then it opens up the FLIR Discovery Network Assistant again, or DNA. And as you can see here, I have a couple of cameras that it has found. I have more cameras than this in my system, but this is only looking for FLIR cameras, or former DVTEL cameras, which are now FLIR. And as you can see, they're both listed right here. It gives me a bunch of information about each one of them. And if I highlight the camera itself, a series of buttons light up across the top, and I'm able to do different things with these. So for instance, if I wanted to assign an IP, if I was starting fresh, simply click on the IP, assign IP button, uncheck the use DHCP, and then assign it whatever IP address with the subnet mask and gateway that I wanted to. Now, this can also be done with multiple cameras simply by using your control or shift functions as you normally would in any Windows. And you can actually apply some of these, so you can go back to assign IP. If I had 100 cameras here, for instance, and I could notice it does say used first IP address, so that's an important thing. What it would do is, say you had a series of 100 cameras, you would assign the first IP address with subnet, mask, and gateway, and the system would automatically sequentially supply IP addresses to all of the cameras that you had listed here. The same thing can be done. Let's go ahead and turn that back on just for the heck of it. The same thing can be done with multiple cameras for firmware updates. I simply click on firmware. See, this is a good important thing to note. I do not want to apply firmware updates to two different cameras, and that's what I've done right here. So we have this nice little warning message to stop you from trying to do that. However, if I had two different aerial cameras, I could highlight them all and then simply click on the firmware update, apply the firmware that's been provided to you by FLIR Security, and then simply hit update, let it do its thing, and then it'll be done. There's a number of other things also. I could go to the individual properties of the camera itself. I could rename the device name itself. If I took off DHCP, again, I could assign IP addresses from here. It also shows some current uptime, the temperature of the camera. This is kind of good, right? To see if something's overheating maybe, and a bunch of other information about the camera itself. Also could go to the credentials and update the credentials for each device that I had listed here as well. And there are a couple of other things to note also. If I had hundreds of cameras, sometimes it could be difficult to find specific ones. So you can use the individual headers here to put things in the order that you want them to. For instance, just like Windows, it's putting them in alphabetical order, now reverse alphabetical order, and if I click it again, it just puts it back in order. Does the same thing numerically here with MAC addresses in each one of these individual things. So not only can you sort, but you can also filter also by different device type, by certain things in the device itself, a number of things that you could do. Add your own text here and then hit it to apply, and it will apply those for you. For further FLIR security training, go to FLIR.com, then Products and Security. From the Security page, you would come to Support and then Training. On the training page, we have it divided currently between in-person training and online training. The in-person training includes certification classes in Latitude and many of our thermal technologies. The online training includes upcoming security webinars, which you see up here on the left, and recorded webinars, which of course continues to grow as we do the current webinars. But over on the right-hand side, you'll see our online training video library, where we cover a number of different things in our repertoire. If we go to Latitude, you can see we have a series of Latitude training videos like this one that you just listened to, and we are adding to this list, and it is growing fast.